What's up, everybody? It's Ruben's Crazy 89 back with Ice Mage 25.
Hey guys, what's up?
All right. So, how you doing, man?
Uh, Pretty good. It's been, I don't know, for the lack of a better word, kind of slow.
I
Kind
feel
of,
the exact opposite. I feel like this, like I feel like I was just streaming a podcast with you like 3 days ago, but that actually was a game stream with Keyblader. But in reality, in
ah,
my mind, it feels like the last time we did this was 3 days ago, when in reality it was a whole 7 days.
well, for me, it's been kind of a long week, but
Oh,
I am
same here.
glad, yeah, but I'm glad we're back. And
Mm-hmm.
for those that don't know, I'm using a new setup.
I
New laptop, new webcam, new mic, you know, just
Yeah.
trying some new things and hopefully make a better quality sound and stream, you know?
Oh yeah, you sound a lot better than you did in the other streams. And visually look better too.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, so where do we begin, man?
So, I think the first topic I want to bring up is I don't know if I want to call it fallout, but like the aftermath of the Nintendo Switch Online. So, it got announced on 25th that Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack was going to release on the 25th of October. And so some people bought it and they tested it out. And it's kind of 50-50 in a way. I've seen people play it and they've had no problems with it. There's It's running fine, which is great to hear.
Hmm.
However, there's the other side that's having problems with
Button inputs, lag.
not just that, not just that, but
Oh, we
like,
got more.
oh yeah, button inputs, lag. There's one in particular that on Ocarina of Time, they keep
Oh,
talking about this, and
the
then
fog.
yeah, Mario Kart 64 too. Like there's a fog, but the thing is though the fog is intentional. It's to transition to the next parts of the map to make it look like there's distance and
The canvas of the game has just been ripped apart a little bit. It's like somebody
yeah.
just polished it too well. It's like if I turn the brightness up on my camera to the max, my intentions may be good because I want all the light on me, but then all you see is a scary face.
Yeah, more or less. But the difference is that we want that fog. We want that
We
because
want that, yes.
it gives a sense of scope and scale
Hmm.
to the game, whether it's action adventure, racing, side scroller, stuff like that, you know?
And it
And
also hides the what is it? The what is it? The shortcuts that the artists use at the time to like cover up the lack of a large model.
yeah,
Like
pretty much.
the fog will clean that up and make it look as if it was a much larger
It's
canvas
just,
than it actually is.
yeah, it's essentially its own buffering
Mm-hmm.
uh for the game. So like if you see something in distance, you can see something's there, but it's covered by fog. When you get closer, you see it slowly getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And it's used for dramatic effect, but also it's also to help load everything else that goes into the screen. And with this emulation that they use, I guess you call it an emulation of some sort.
Yeah, it's definitely
But
emulation. It's Nintendo's in-house emulation, so they're not using one of the emulators out there, which I think they should. But go continue.
but yeah, like you could just see things pretty much as clear as day. And the one thing that kind of bothers me is that we like certain things in certain games for certain reasons, and that's one of them. A lot of people are talking about. For me personally, I'm like, it's fog, but it has a
Hmm.
more practical application to it. You know?
I see. We have a first message of the night from Keyblader 007. Hey, Keyblader. He's saying, "Hi, Ice Mage. How have you been?"
Same old, same old.
But yeah, continue on your on what you were saying.
So yeah, fog issues, lag. That's of course is gonna come either way. And it was like I told you before, this this expansion pack is gonna remind me of a cloud gaming. Like if you don't have a
Oh,
stable internet
definitely.
connection, everything's just gonna fuck up. And now there's sound latency problems. So certain audios are you could hear it echoing, you know?
That I
And
didn't even catch, to be honest with you.
yeah, like I kid you not. There was there's a couple of videos I've seen on YouTube, but there was one in particular. I think it was in the YouTuber's Modern Vintage Gamer. Like he went into detail of like the specs and what they use and how they implement in the online plus pack. And he started showing some videos of all the stuff that was being used. And one of the problems that for some it ran, some it crashed, but the sound quality was horrible, like utterly horrible. It sounds like speaking into a mic and you're hearing yourself, but you're hearing yourself at 1/10 of a second. And
Yeah.
so, like, when and literally when I saw this on my computer, it was basically what were they playing? Super Mario 64. They were playing it, and like you know how on the menu screen you see Mario's big head open up, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, whatever it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
my best Mario interpretation.
That wasn't that bad.
Like, but like whatever. So,
Base start
uh,
to play.
yeah, and so like you know how like you use the analog to like grab his nose and like you make it
Mm-hmm.
like move it all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, when you hear him speak, or like whenever you're going through the levels, it was completely delayed. It wasn't like automatic. There was a delay. Like
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like a giant echo. Like, and it wasn't just in the main menu. It was throughout the game at certain moments for some weird reason. I have no idea why. And not only that, there's videos of button inputs and
Oh
button
yeah.
control
Mm-hmm.
inputs where like if you press it, it literally makes it happen a second later and not immediately. And that's a problem, especially when the whole point of using a controller is to make that character do something immediately the moment you press it. And the fact that there's a delay on it, that's not good,
Oh yeah,
you know?
they've been having problems with this even with the NES and SNES. That's why I usually don't play on those. Instead, I'd rather just go on my Wii and still play through the really dark emulated virtual console ROMs versus you know playing on the Nintendo Switch online, unless it was convenient for, let's say, a friend who had the Switch and they so happened to want to play a Super Nintendo game at the time. I would play Super Nintendo with them on the Switch, but still definitely not my first choice.
Yeah. And you want to know the crazy part about all this?
Hmm?
There's a small part, very small, that actually wants to get it, you know? And it's weird for me to say because with all the problems that it has, there's a small part of me is like, you know what? Do I think it's worth it? I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, man, I want to play those old games. Like those are nostalgic for me. Like I
They
don't
are
know
for
what to
me
tell you.
too. I know
You
exactly
know?
how you feel, man. That's why I got the service, so I can actually share that experience. Like this week we shared Keyblader's experience because he grew up first as a Sega Genesis boy, you
Same
know,
here.
right. So he loved the Sega Genesis. So I got to play a little bit of the games from his childhood. Next week we're doing Super Mario Party. I'm sorry, not Super Mario. I keep calling it that. Mario Party Superstars. And
Oh yeah.
probably the week after that we're probably going to play the Nintendo 64 Switch Online. Who knows? Maybe they'll patch it by then, but that's I doubt that's
I
gonna.
wouldn't hold your
Yeah.
breath on that
Uh,
one. I wouldn't hold your breath. Stop it. All of a sudden, a boo comes out.
and now just you take over my YouTube channel.
I'm like,
Like
hey, I'm Ruben.
it's instead of what is it, my me popping up in the beginning, we just replace your me there.
That's fucked up, dude. But anyway, no, but yeah, ooh, there is there's one thing in particular, and I don't know if you know about this, but you know Mario Kart 64?
Mm-hmm. Of
Okay.
course I do.
Oh, yeah, stupid me. Yeah, I should know this, but I've never asked, so I assume I never knew. Um, there's one there is one big I don't know if I want to say a big problem, but it's a problem. So I found this out that, and I knew about this, but I don't think you know about this.
Well,
So
tell me. I'm dying to know.
yeah, so in Mario Kart 64, you have it's mainly a multiplayer game, but there are single player aspects
Elements?
to it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
there's a time trial mode and the Grand Prix mode.
yeah. Well, there's also the trial mode. The trial mode is where you could pick a track, go do 3 laps, but after the second and third lap, you have to beat your own ghost.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You do 3 laps and then you can go back to the track and verse your own ghost and beat your time.
Yeah, yeah, to
Oh
beat your
yeah.
time.
Yeah, Nintendo
But
never actually implemented and emulated save what is it feature to the game. And it would also be bullshit if it was exclusive to the Nintendo 64 controller that they provide you. That would be bullshit. But
well, either way, the peripheral for the N64, like the back, is completely blocked off. You can't put no rumble pack, no
oh no,
expansion pack.
I understand. No, I understand that. But like if they wanted to, they could probably put one unit over there that does the work of both. Put a rumble pack save card. We're in 2021. If they wanted to, they could have embedded a save chip and rumble chip in there. Just saying,
Well, well, they could have, and I hope they do. But odds
I
are probably not.
I think there's rumble on that controller. I was genuinely curious about the same thing you were to see if the expansion slot was still open or not. It's not.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, and I found this out because someone shared a screenshot and it said no ghost data. And I was like, why does it sound familiar to me? And I realized, oh yeah, there's a trial mode where you do a track,
Yep.
and when you do a track again, you get a ghost that you have to beat in order to improve your time. And once you improve it, that ghost will override that one, and you can just keep doing it over and over until you got it.
Right.
In this one, there's no ghost pack. There's no ghost pack whatsoever. So if you want to beat your own trial time in trial mode and want to face your own ghost, you can't do it. And
Mm-mm.
there's no pack for it. So yeah, that's a
I mean,
I thought
they could easily like patch this in their emulator and somehow make a dummy um, memory card, similar to how the PlayStation 3. This is back in like 2006. You can make dummy PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 memory cards, and you could save your data on there. I still remember this even when Keyblader got his PS3. He helped me back up all my PS2 memory cards to his PS3 until I got my PS3. He had an adapter for the PS1 and PS2 memory
oh
cards.
wow.
Yeah, he probably still has it somewhere in storage, but it
Hmm.
was a wonderful
I didn't know that
idea.
was a possible thing.
Yep. Yes, it is. It's a flash memory converter. It basically turns a PS1 memory card into a thumb drive in a sense.
Oh, okay. I didn't really know about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we find a lot of weird accessories. Mostly me, but
No, but I mean, it's just one of many problems with the expansion pack. And at the same time, it's like
it shouldn't have to be.
it shouldn't really. I mean, they have the money. You know this. Like we all know it. Like they have the money to fix these problems. Why they won't do it, I have no idea.
They're
I
the
can
Disney
only
of video games. They have the money. They can fix it.
and not only that, Um, Imagine if Donkey Kong 64 comes out there.
Mm,
You remember when you needed the Rumble Pack in order to get to a certain point in the game, and if you didn't have it, you couldn't beat it. Like,
yeah. I mean, I from what I remember, I think some games do support vibration. You just have to have a controller that supports vibration. Like, for example, here I got two controllers right here. These two guys, right? Oh, hold on. There we go.
oh wow,
All right, this guy. Let me see. This guy is a official. What is it? Nintendo controller. Like, well, it's by PowerA, but it's licensed by Nintendo. That controller will work on the Switch, but
hmm.
it does not work with Nintendo's button input in their settings. Like, it's completely locked out.
Oh
Like,
wow,
it will not even allow me to change any of the inputs. This one, however, is a Chinese knockoff GameCube controller, but it's actually modeled after the Wavebird, and it supports Rumble, and it
Wave
also
Bird. That's.
I know
Ooh.
it also I know you the Wavebird it's like it's ass backwards. The one that doesn't vibrate vibrates, and now the one that vibrates doesn't vibrate.
And it's a licensed one,
No, yeah, this is the licensed one. It doesn't vibrate. But it can
which
wake up.
is
It can wake up the console though. That one can't. But the Nintendo Switch thinks this one is a Nintendo Switch Pro controller when I turn on the system, and it will allow me to map the buttons, which is another problem that the Nintendo um, 64 Online Pass has. The button configuration is as backwards. When I was playing Mario Kart 64 the other night with Sherry, um, one of these two buttons is to fire your projectile in Mario Kart 64, while the other one adjusts the volume of the in-game music. I guess you can guess what I was doing most of the time when I wanted to fire a green shell, toggling
well
the
shit.
music. And was there a
That's a
set? Was there a setting I can do to fix that? No.
wow.
Had I been using this, but then I'd have to waste time and back out, close out the game, go into the settings,
Yeah.
configure everything. This was another problem I had even with Mario 3D All Stars, where I had to invert the Y and the B buttons. But that's
Oh
because,
wow.
yeah, that's a totally different issue. We'll bring up another day or touch back on if Mario comes into the discussion. But there's a lot of problems that they have when it comes to re-releases of games, unless they do them from the ground up, like Link's Awakening, and they give
Ooh.
it a complete clean slate.
Yeah,
You know,
I have Link's Awakening, and I have to tell you, it's really good. Like I never played the one that came out on the Game Boy,
neither did I.
but man, dude, it's like a fresh coat of paint, update controls, like it's just so good.
Yep.
The only thing that I have a problem with the Switch is that the Switch controllers are buttons and the whole layout, like they're very small. Like they're
Hmm.
kind of small, and I have like giant hands,
Oh,
Like
you're playing this in handheld?
yeah,
What do you have? A Switch or Switch Lite?
just a regular Switch.
You definitely need the on what do you call it? The I
I
forget
want to
what
get the
the
Pro.
no, you could get the Pro, but I was gonna say if playing in handheld is the problem, you can slide these things that look like two regular controllers onto the side of the system when you want to play in handheld. Uh fuck, I want to look it up, but I'll send it to you another time. But it's like it looks like somebody took a full size controller, sawed it in half, added rails to each side, and you can slide it on each side of the Switch in portable mode.
Oh wow, is it
Yeah,
licensed or is oh,
it's
okay?
licensed. I think it's either by Hori or PowerA, one of the two.
Oh okay.
But if you wanted a call it, a controller you want to use on your Nintendo Switch, I know you have a PlayStation 4, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, of
You
course.
should get you should get what is it, a Mayflash adapter. It's a USB drive. They made okay. It's a okay. Mayflash Magic. What is it? NS. It's a gray USB drive you plug into your Nintendo Switch's USB port, and then you take the micro USB cable, plug it into your PS4 controller, then plug it into the USB, and now that PlayStation 4 controller will work with the Switch as if it was a Switch Pro controller.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I have two of them on my Switch. I'm
Oh wow.
always equipped to play with whatever peripheral I have.
Damn,
Even
man.
even even an Xbox controller if I wanted to.
I guess so. I mean, anything's possible now. Um, yeah, I'll probably check it out. Odds are, but for the most part, like I'm having a lot of fun with Link's Awakening. It's really good. It's really fun.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
got I don't have the game, but Lauren does. I could play it anytime I want, but I haven't had the, I guess you could say, the courage yet to and time and dedication to play it. And if I did play it, I probably would want to stream it, but I'm yet to even finish Super Mario RPG.
Mm.
So I want to finish something before I start something else. I don't want to have my whole channels have like a whole branch of like different streams, and you know, some are finished and some are not finished.
Yeah, pretty much. So, do you have anything you want to add to this topic?
Let me see. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff for the a whole bunch of problems we have with the Nintendo 64 service, but the only positive I could see is you have as long as you all have a good stable connection to a point, you could kind of play a game with each other. Like I was able to play Mario Kart with Sherry with very few hiccups, but the hiccups were still kind of there depending on
Oh,
what
okay.
was happening in the game.
All right. At at least that's good to know for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that these are problems that really get worked on throughout the entire service, like
I hope so too.
from NES to Nintendo 64, and even the Genesis. But from when I played with Keyblader, actually that one I've actually felt the most flawless out of like the four that are available now.
Oh
Because
wow.
I played with him and I felt like I was playing the Sonic's Genesis collection for the PS3. I was like, damn. And I haven't touched that in a while. We were having a blast with that shit.
Hmm.
And that's the last time I played with it at his old house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was that long. And I recently bought the game for myself, the for the PS3, and I'm still yet to pop it into my system.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that I
So
unless you have anything else you want to add to the Nintendo 64 online service or the online service in general, we can move on to the next topic of tonight.
uh not really, no. If anything, you could start the second topic.
And I believe that would be a very strange idea that's been in the works in the background that has actually now been confirmed.
Oh wow.
Warner Brothers is making a Super Smash Brothers clone. Well, clone is a bad word. I guess you could say fighter platformer, as they're calling it. Super Smash Brothers clone.
I mean, you know what? For the sake of argument, let's just go with that for now.
Yeah, it's
Until
basically.
like they have an official technical term that you want to use.
Well, I mean, they have a name for it. It's called Multiverse or more Multiverses.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure of the title. I'm just calling it Warner Brothers Smash or Smash Warner Brothers. I don't know.
Hey, fuck it. I mean, go with that for now if you want to. So, what are the details for it in particular?
Well, I mean, other than yes, I am wearing a Batman shirt. Yeah, it's behind the microphone.
Yes.
And it actually, I don't know if it's actually gonna still glow in the dark because I've washed this thing before. No, it's too bright, but it actually does glow. It glows in the dark. I'm like, oh, let me turn off the light, and it's actually the. I forgot about the entire backlight of the monitor. Oh yeah, we forget these things. But yes, I am wearing the Batman shirt.
Oh, okay.
But yes, Batman is confirmed to be in the game too. But before all of that,
Obviously, I mean, it's
It's
It's a
Warner
Warner
Brothers.
Brothers. Yeah.
But yeah, they have confirmed characters. The play style, they're saying it's like two. What is it? You get to pick two characters as opposed to one. So I don't know if like characters are gonna be in pairs, or you get to like pick like two characters, like let's say Johnny Bravo and Fred Flintstone, to be a
Oh,
pair, and then you go,
oh, yes.
and each of them would be like a
Yes.
stock or something, or I don't know.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If can you imagine if like okay, let's call it what it is. It's a Super Smash Bros. Clone.
Yeah, it is.
But let's say, for example, you get to what you've told me is that you get to pick up to two people and and just show up in a 2D style fight.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine Johnny Bravo and Batman just showing up and like they have words with each other, like "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am," and all of a sudden Johnny Bravo comes out and is like, "Hey, mama." He's just it's like, yeah, and like you just hear the whip sound every time he moves, and then Batman just looks at him like with a serious face and makes him stop. That would be fucking hilarious. You know?
Yeah, but I'm also hearing negatives on that too. That they might make it a free to play game.
Oh no. Well, I mean, if they are making it free to play, most likely it's gonna have loot boxes, if anything.
I hope not.
Because like, how else you gonna make money off of it if it's gonna be free? I
Yeah, or
mean,
or there'll be there probably might be like a small paywall or ads or shit.
probably, yeah. Like, the only thing I can think of is that if the game is free, allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
if it is free, what they're most likely going to charge for is DLC and expansion packs. And that includes new characters, new stages, new modes, basically new other ways to play. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
I don't if they do this, and that's a big if, it would be nice or it'd be awesome, depending on how you look at it. If they just decided, you know what, we're gonna make we call this game the multiverses. Why don't we just bring in Marvel characters? You know,
That might be a little dicey with Disney.
maybe, but like, can you imagine like the partnership they have? Like, you have Marvel and DC characters duking it out in a 2D style Super Smash Brothers game clone,
Well,
and
that
it's
might work.
basically like I don't know why I moved this, but but like basically just have them deck it out, and it's like a comic book's wet dream come true, for a lack of a better word. You know?
That's true. I mean, it is still. I mean, it's still DC as well as Warner Brothers. So
Yeah. But here's the thing: it's going to be under the Warner Brothers flagship, and they're just basically paying for the rights of this character to show up in this game. Now,
correct.
again,
Yeah.
like you said, maybe there's going to be a lot of red tape depending on who they can get, but if they can get like an Avengers pack, kind of like a Challenger pack, like the way um Sakurai-san did with
Smash
uh
Brothers.
yeah, like it'll be a Challenger pack, but like that Challenger pack is going to be labeled like the Avengers pack, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get a mixture of like uh Avengers superheroes and maybe villains that could show up. They could all duke out, and
That's
that and
true.
like the stages and whatnot. Because like I've seen footage of the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not bad. The game doesn't look
It's a little lifeless right now. A little bit.
yeah, because like I think there's only like 8 characters available right now.
No. There's a good amount of the characters. Isn't what's the problem? I mean, if we got to touch up on a little bit of Nickelodeon, which is the pink elephant in the room, sitting on the side sipping some tea. Um, I think they did
Like
an
that is
amazing.
noticeable.
I know they did an amazing. No voice acting makes it bad. Yeah, I was just about to say that, Keyblader. Yes, there's no voice acting in the game. However, fans, what is it, have already inserted their own voice clips temporarily, but they are looking into. Let me see. If you like Tim Burton's story type, Ice Means, check out Lost in Random. Okay. All right. Well, we have to we'll stick to this topic, but yeah, that's a interesting game. I looked at it already on the Switch and on the PlayStation 4. They're both on sale. But yes,
Hmm.
um, as I was saying, there's no voice acting in the game, but the people who make the Nickelodeon, what is it, Smash Brothers game, I'm just gonna call it that, um, are really in touch with the fan base. They know what they have is gonna be good, so they're listening to the fans, listening to input. But I feel like they backed out on voice acting just for right now because they didn't want to go over budget with this game. Same thing with even licensing the music and rights from each property from Nickelodeon, such as using the SpongeBob theme and all of that. There's like all original tracks remixed to sound like it's from the Nickelodeon properties, and the lack of voice acting.
Hmm.
So other than that, oh yeah, there's no items in the game, but a lot of
No
people
items?
there's no items.
Oh
Mm-mm.
wow.
Yeah, they just did away with items. I'm guessing because they wanted to make this game more competitive, and in competitive Smash, items are usually turned off.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
guess so. Pretty much.
yeah,
I
and
haven't played Smash in a long time, so
but yeah, another thing, Keyblader mentioned something about you sounding echoey. I mean, I don't think you sound echoey. I think you sound fine.
there's probably a delay on his end
Yeah, no,
because like the mic is like 6 inches away from me. So
yeah, no, you sound fine to me. I mean, I don't hear any echo.
all right. So yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
Well, let's see. Have you heard of the characters that they decided to want to include into what is it, the game, or you're completely in the dark about it? Other than,
I'm completely in the dark about it. You tell me who's available to play in this
well,
game.
let's see. They mentioned something about Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings, Fred Flintstone, Johnny Bravo. Um,
Oh my
I
god.
think LeBron James is confirmed.
Oh fuck.
Tom and Jerry are in the game.
Yeah. That's gonna be awesome.
Ron and Harry are in the game as well, but because of licensing with the Harry Potter property, they're in it right now as far as development goes, but they're not confirmed because of the
Why not
licensing.
Harry Potter?
I know that's Warner Brothers, but
That's the weirdest fucking thing. How can you not? How can Warner Brothers make a 2D or 2.5D style fighting Super Smash Brothers clone game, and they not only have the rights to Wizarding World of Harry Potter, but they don't put Harry Potter as a fightable character.
well, no, they already have Ron and Harry in development. Like they're in the game. The files
Oh,
are
I was about to
there,
say,
but
I'm thinking
it's
of the
just license.
Weasleys.
It's it's
I thought the
licensing.
Weasleys. I was like, why the Weasleys in here?
No. Ron and Harry are both in the game,
Oh, okay.
but
It'd be
they still.
hilarious out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, that'd be like just adding Hagrid but not adding any of the other characters. Like,
Yeah. It's like, what kind of weird acquisition is this game?
or even worse, you just add like a very nonchalant Harry Potter character. Like, damn, it's been so long. Um,
If they add Dobby into this game, I will fucking lose my mind. Like Dobby wants to come fight you, bitches. Whack.
Whoa, little leprechaun dude.
Batman just look at him, and the moment he comes, he just kicks the shit out of him, punches him like a football field.
Damn. No, it's definitely going to be a very humorous thing. Especially one of the things that people suspect greenlit this entire thing was the Ultra Shaggy, sorry, Ultra Instinct Shaggy memes.
What? Really?
Yeah, I mean, because so many people petitioned to have Ultra Instinct Shaggy in Mortal Kombat, and they wanted that so bad, but they did not want to, disparage the character, in a very bloody and gory game.
Ah, okay.
Because Shaggy by default is not, at any level near a super. What is it? Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
Like
he's
the
like,
two characters are like Pluto and Mercury. That's like two totally like they're humanoid. That's like their only comparison. They're round like both planets. Oh, actually, Pluto's not a planet; it's a dwarf planet. But I'm still calling it a planet.
which I'm mad about, by the way.
I'm still mad. I'm fuming on
Pluto
that.
should be a planet.
It
It's
is a
been a
fucking planet.
planet. And I don't care how small that fucking planet is, it's still part of our solar system. Okay,
Exactly.
people? I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks otherwise.
Exactly. I'm on your side with this. As I'm
Thank you.
saying,
Thank you. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that fucking is like, of all the things that we could be mad about right now, and planets shouldn't be one of them. I'm glad that at least I'm not the only one who is a little heartbroken that Pluto is not part of our official solar system. You know,
I
I
still think
mean,
it
we've
is.
found it for years. All of a sudden, now you want to throw it out. When did the standards for planets change?
Pretty
The,
soon we're
the-
gonna. Pretty soon, if the sun starts causing more cancer on Earth, we're gonna say no. The sun doesn't exist anymore. It's just a light bulb in the sky.
yeah, it's so fucking stupid. But you know what? If you want to acknowledge it, that's up to you. If not, so be it. Who gives a fuck? But but yeah, like so. Okay, so we have Batman, Ron and Harry from Harry Potter,
Tom and Jerry,
uh, Tom and Jerry, Johnny Bravo.
Fred
Oh
Flintstone.
man, Fred Flintstone. Who else?
Let's see who else. Indeed, uh, I think what is it? One or two? No, I'm not sure about the Mortal Kombat characters, but I did see Scorpio in a thumbnail that I sent you. That could just be like one of like the rumored leaks. I don't know if he's confirmed or not, but I think I even seen Mortal Kombat in there, but not like obviously if it's in a Smash style game, they're not. There's not going to be any get over here and heads pop flying off.
I mean, they don't have to. If you think
Yeah.
about it, I mean, don't get me wrong. The entire Mortal Kombat history of video games has always had blood and gore. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Always has, always will. If they would make it into 2.5D style fighting game like this,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really need to. If you think about it. I mean, like, what game was on the GameCube that was M-rated but was still cartoony looking? Mad World. It was like a black and white,
That was on the Wii
it-
though. On the Wii,
but it was a Nintendo game.
it was on the Nintendo platform, but it wasn't a Nintendo game.
Oh, it wasn't.
Mm-mm. I don't believe it
Wait,
was.
who? Because I remember Mad World was like this black and white game, but like
It is.
every time you killed someone, you'd see blood red everywhere
Oh yeah,
with
no,
like a chainsaw and whatnot.
yeah, it was
It
definitely
wasn't a Nintendo game.
no, it was on a Nintendo platform, but it was definitely not by Nintendo.
Oh, okay. Wow. I must have missed something because like I could have sworn it was a Nintendo game.
No, they just made it. It was like almost like No More Heroes. We all thought that was just a Nintendo game. Obviously, it's not. Eventually, they remade it for the PlayStation 3, and now it's back on the Nintendo with its sequel.
Oh, okay. That was a weird one because like I could have sworn it was a Nintendo one, like the No More Heroes thing. I was like, that's a Nintendo game too, and now you're telling me it's not. I was like, what the hell?
Otherwise, then Travis would have definitely been in Super Smash Brothers, but he's not.
Yeah, because he's a sword character.
Mm-hmm. No, but
Yeah.
instead we
Holy
got
shit.
we got Sora from Kingdom Hearts and a whole Fire Emblem.
Well, Sakurai is a huge Fire Emblem fan.
Yeah, but he was a closet Kingdom Hearts fan. But after seeing Sora in Smash, I can see it. Like the music tracks from like Brawl, the story of World of Light. I'm like, this dude like secretly wanted to make a whole thing a Kingdom Hearts fan fiction. but
I mean, the guy is a secret fan of Final Fantasy. I mean, did you see the Sephiroth reveal? Reveal? Like,
Sephiroth, Cloud.
and you see that reveal like about 70% into the video, you see a huge fight between them that lasted like a few seconds, and then straight from that, in children.
Mm-hmm.
He puts his hand up. He's like, "Now I'll give Smash Spare," and a bunch of clouds just start twirling. Just goes into his hand, just sends it
Yeah,
his
and
way. And
and
like,
Sephiroth just claimed dominance for like last year, saying, "No, fuck the final boss. I'm the final boss." And you actually got for the short time frame just before his release, you could buy Sephiroth like a day or two before, and if you beat him, you can actually unlock him before his release date. At the time, I
oh
beat him.
yeah, I
It
remember
was
that.
fun,
Yeah,
but
you
yeah.
think they're gonna, you think they're gonna come out? To go off topic a bit.
Mhm.
Do you think they'll come out with Game of the Year edition for Super Smash Brothers Ultimate?
I think that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in itself was already the Game of the Year edition for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, so I highly doubt that. But if they do decide to make like a Super Smash Bros. Game of the Year edition or whatever they decide to call it,
And it's gonna have
then
like all the characters, all the maps, all the music.
like pre-unlocked right out the box.
Yeah, but it's just in the game. Like it's literally in the chip the moment you put it in.
I, w-
Everything's
I
there.
I would love that for anybody who does not already have Super Smash Bros.
Because
Because
I don't.
by default, the game only has the original 8 from the what is it the first Super Smash Brothers game, and you have to play I think the game World of Light to slowly start unlocking all the characters. Like
Hmm.
as you find them, what is it on the map, and you save them, you unlock them, and they go into your party. Yeah,
Okay.
it's been a while since I played, but I remember that much.
All right.
Well, the story I played with Keyblader 2 weeks ago when Sora came out.
Hmm.
But yeah, but that's pretty much all there is character reveals after the game was over. The story was, I still think Brawl had the best overarching story overall.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think what is it? We're pretty much done with this topic, unless there's anything you wanted to add on to your thoughts on any Super Smash Brothers related media.
No, not really. I mean, if anything, let's take a break,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I was thinking the same thing because I'm running low on water.
yeah, same here. So yeah, let's take a break, and then when we come back, I'm gonna bring up a third topic for
Mm-hmm.
us. Because usually we run with two topics for the interest of time,
Mm-hmm.
but this third topic, I brought it up to you a few days ago,
Yes, you did.
and it's been something that's been kind of stirring in my head for a while. Because
Uh,
like it was something that I've always wanted to talk to another person with that never knew nothing about what I'm going to mention, but like bring awareness to it, so that way people can like talk about it and see it. Well, not see it because we're not going to show you footage for it, obviously,
we're
but
not
like
game developers.
yeah, or like we don't. I don't know if you could share a screenshot or whatnot, but like let's just say the next topic is going to be more of a discussion of certain franchises that is not known to the general public, but it's known to a small group of fans.
I see.
Like,
I see.
like very small group. Not everyone knows about it. Some of them, like majority of people may or may not have heard of them in the past, but like I want to bring it up in a way that goes into detail about like what this world was, what these characters were, what type of things that I find intriguing that not a lot of people paid attention to or didn't really care. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah. Let's take a quick break. stretch our legs and whatnot, get something to eat, and then we come back and go and do all this. All right.
All right, let me cue the transition out. Hold on. And we are back. And there's my text saying we will be returning shortly. Sadly, I forgot to. So that's a big delay. That was so much a lie.
Like
All right,
mistake you made.
it'll go away eventually. Come on, shoo, away from my head. Nope, that's not gonna work. Okay, so do you want to start the last topic for tonight?
Yes. So this has been stewing in my head for a while. Because I've been looking up YouTube videos of this particular franchise, mainly because a year or so ago I found out they were doing a reboot of this franchise, and they unfortunately canceled it. Whether it was time
Mm-hmm.
management, money issues, resources, they couldn't finish the game. And so
Hmm.
someone leaked the rebooted franchise, and I saw the test footage, and it looked good. But the problem that I have with it is that it was more of a reboot than a continuation, you know? And so for this topic that I wanted to bring up, and I suggested to you a few days ago about it, and you were telling me how like it's a good topic, but you didn't have an idea for it. So I was kind of hoping that I would start off with mine and then you start off with yours.
I
All
just
right.
hope this doesn't turn into like one of those things, like where the kid, just like thinks he's just gonna like go crazy in the classroom, but then he realizes that this topic has nothing to do from what he actually was thinking, and then he just completely fucks up, and it's like bringing a science experiment into math class.
I mean, it won't cause physical harm if that's what you're asking.
Oh no, no,
The way you phrased it
no.
was like,
Well,
he's going to bring a science experiment.
well, may,
Da, 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 da. Like, no, it's not like that.
well, no, I mean, like, I just hope that I picked a game or two games into my mind that correspond to the topic that you were trying to bring up right now.
Okay, so basically, I didn't know how to phrase this topic, so it's going to be pretty long-winded. So let me put it out there. The topic is the topic I want to talk about is what gaming franchise that you want rebooted. And when I mean reboot, I mean from the ground up, but
Not a lot
still
of people
had
have played yet.
that not played yet because these games have been out for a while.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Get ready for this. Basically, my topic is what game from the past that you've played personally that you love, but not a lot of people know about that you would love to see be remade.
Okay.
Now, to bring to a new audience, because let's be honest, no one's going to play games from 10, 15, 20 years ago now. I mean, maybe our generation, but not many others, you know? And it kind of sprung up because I was looking at footage of Ocarina of Time, and to go back to the first topic was the NSO, and thought, I wonder, I wonder if they just simply remade the game. I mean, you still have the original, but like if someone remade it from the ground up with updated controls, graphics, but they somehow kept the storyline the same. You know what I mean? And so that's my topic. Basically, games that are more or less long forgotten, but there's a small niche audience that remembers it and still talks about it to this day, you know? That not the mainstream audience knows or even remembers remotely. So My topic for this and the answer for it is the Legacy of Kain series. Now, have you ever heard of the Legacy of Kain series?
I have heard of it, but I know nothing of it.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a franchise that not a lot of people know. There's a very small audience for it, but there is such rich lore and history, and the characters. Oh my god, the characters are. You want to talk about like Uncharted, like their voice acting, the acting and whatnot. This was before they did motion capture. This was basically just voice acting in general. Like these were memorable characters for their time. But unfortunately, as time moved on, as technology advanced, you get lost in the ether, and the only way you're gonna know about it is unless someone brings it back up. Now, a while ago, on the I want to say it was Square Enix or Crystal Dynamics. I think it's Crystal Dynamics. They went on their Instagram and posted a picture of this character named Raziel. Now, he was from the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver series.
Mm-hmm.
And it said on the bottom, I am Raziel, firstborn lieutenant to our leader Kain, whatnot. Something to that effect. And then a lot of people, myself included, got super excited about it because, like, why would you post this? You haven't talked about the Legacy of Kain series in years, if not decades. You know, because the first game wasn't about Razia; it was about Kain. He was the first. Well, I don't want to say the first, but let me get to the story first. So this franchise started in the mid 90s. I want to say 95, 96. And it started off with a game called Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. And Kain was a 30-year-old nobleman who got um, ambushed and killed outside of a pub or a bar by a bunch of bandits. And he was resurrected by a time streamer called Mobius. And when he
Wow,
got resurrected from the depths of hell, he came back as a vampire.
I see.
So when he got resurrected, he was able to exact his vengeance. So he found the people who killed him, slaughtered them, and then went back to Mobius and told him, "Thank you for giving my revenge," to that effect. But then he gives him another task and tells him, "You have to go after this one king that we have, and he will grow up to be a ruthless dictator. He will rule with iron fist. People will starve. They will die. He will wreak such havoc to the world of Nosgoth that it will doom humanity." So he's like, you know what? Okay, I'll do it. So time streamer Mobius takes him to the past and finds this kid who will eventually become king, and Cain kills him as a child.
Oh wow. Huh.
But here's the thing, when he comes back to his original timeline, you find out that Mobius creates, during this timeline, that he creates the Seraphim Brotherhood. And the Seraphim Brotherhood was basically a group of elite vampire hunters that scoured Nosgoth to kill all these creatures. You know? But what you realize throughout this story is that when he does this, he's setting off a series of chain of events that will, over the course of the series, affect what happens in the end game, which is Legacy of Kain Defiance.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the first game, when you spoilers for the people who haven't played this game, there is a continuation of this. In the first one, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, at the end, there's a choice, which is at that time, it was just a choice. But the problem was that they made a sequel to it. So the choice doesn't really matter. So it's not the canon choice, whatever you pick. Now, you find out before I tell the end of that, throughout the game, you find out that there's these 9 pillars called the Pillars of Nosgoth. They're just tall pillars that go from the ground all the way up into the sky, like almost never ending. Like you don't know what that other side is connected to, it just goes all the way up to the sky. Now, the whole point of the pillars is that it brings an element to this world that makes it so everything exists. So you have earth, wind, water, but it's not wind, they call it air.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit, light, dark, I think space.
Heart.
If only. That won't go too far. But
Captain Planet.
and all of these uh is held together by one pillar, which is the balance pillar. And the balance pillar is the one that helps create order for all these other pillars. And so that pillar becomes the guardian for all of them. And it's the only reason why Nosgoth thrives. And you see huge, vast mountains and forests and um, flora and fauna just thrive and succeed and whatnot. However, if you kill the guardians who protect those pillars or who are assigned to it, they essentially, um, you'll essentially see all the pillars get corrupted. So the pillars will go from pristine marble white coloring to just dark, cut up, graveled decay. Like you just see it just rot itself to its core.
Oh wow.
But in order to restore the pillars, you have to find the balance guardian. The balance guardian is the one that has to die in order so new guardians can take over and restore the pillars back to its original state, and everything in the world becomes anew. You know, so that's the whole point of this franchise. Like, and at the center of it, you find out that Kane, the one that you've been playing, is the new balance guardian. He's the one who has to watch over all the pillars. So, but unfortunately, the previous guardian for the balance pillar was murdered, and unfortunately, her name was Ariel. She is in this series a ghost who was brutally murdered, and her guardian sensed malice and deception to who killed her and goes on a rampage to find the other guardians to see who did it. Because and I think the bodyguard to the guardian's name is Nutraptor, I believe. It's been a while since I played these games. Well, I haven't played the first one. I've played Soul Reaver 1, 2, a little bit of Blood Omen 2, and Defiance. I never played the first one, but I've seen the story and know exactly what happens. And you find out that when a new guardian is killed, when a guardian of a certain pillar is killed, a new one is born in its stead. So the moment Ariel died, Cain was born. He was destined to become the balance guardian. The problem is that no one knew who the balance guardian was until that moment. You know? And he was a noble, he was a human. But here's the twist. You find out in the second game that the whole vampire ordeal is a lot more intricate than you think. Like than is foretold in the series. And I'm trying to balance this right, for lack of a better word, to explain it better. Um how can I put this? It's essentially throughout the story of the game, you find out that not only were all the Guardians killed, but Kane has to become the ultimate sacrifice in the game. So at the end of the game, once you find all the Guardians who were killed, you have to kill them all, and you're helped by other vampires, you know? And at the end, you're given a choice. If you sacrifice yourself, new Guardians will come and be the protector of these pillars, and they will become new and pristine, and the world will flourish. However, if he doesn't accept the sacrifice, he has to. Well, he doesn't have to, but if he refuses sacrifice, the pillars stay corrupted, they stay decayed, and Nazgûl just becomes this world of eternal damnation. Like everything will go to shit, you know? And then comes the sequel, which is Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. A Soul Reaver, the first, I want to say 4 or 5 minutes, like the opening intro to that game, if you ever get a chance, just look up Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver cinematic intro. You watch that, it is the most insane. Like it will pull you into the world. That's how much it's so good. But then
Wow,
when you start to play
the
the game,
sequels trailer, that's crazy.
like I remember, like the rest of the stuff that I told you, that was just from the first game. The second game takes place years later, and you find out that the character you play, Kane, is one of no, not Kane, Raziel. He was one of Kane's lieutenants, and you find out that um in the intro, um Kane's lieutenants, each one of them, Raziel, Rahab, Zephyr, Terrell, Duma, and Malchiah. All of them, I think, I hope it's all of them. Yeah, Raziel, Duma, Rahab, Zephyr, Terrell, Malchiah. They're all of Kane's like subordinates, like second in command. Kane is the leader of all these vampires. And you find out that every few hundred years or so, like over time, they had developed new gifts for their abilities. And with like for instance, like Rahab, he's one vampire, he's one of the lieutenants. Rahab has the ability to swim underwater. Like water doesn't affect them. Like in this universe, vampires, when they go into water, it's like acid to them. Like they'll die if they stay in there. You know?
I see. So that's worse than just like going through a pass. You can't pass through what is it, a river stream? It's like
Well,
instant
you
death.
well you could, but it's not going to kill you automatically. You know?
I see.
Like you will you like if a vampire in this universe goes into a body of water, just jumps in, like their whole body gets like eaten up alive. Like you know how you like take a piece of meat, put it in acid, and you just slowly see the meat getting torn apart, and it's bubbling, and it's just eating at everything.
I was
That's
gonna
what
say
water
watering.
does.
I was gonna say water and cotton candy, but that's
Mm,
even more
It's a
mutilating.
little too quick. It's a little
Oh,
too
okay.
quick.
Got it. Got it.
But like in this universe, like water is damaging to vampires, but Rahab is the only one that can go underwater
I
and
see.
like not be harmed. You know, that was one of the gifts that he obtained. Terrell, his gift was basically superior hearing. And like so his ears can pick up conversations or footsteps of people from great distances. That's why like his is like when you see his visual look, you see his ears are bigger than longer than most of the vampires. With Rahab, he has more of a scaly skin, so like when he goes into water, he can swim very fast.
I see.
Yeah, Duma's like his gift is super strength. Like he's like a huge, big, buff, like bodybuilder type guy. Like he's like a walking Hulk. You know what I mean? Zephyr became more of like an insect type character. You know, I don't know how to explain it. Like, uh, yeah, he became more of a an insectoid type character. And then Melchiah, who was the last one, he got the worst gift of all. Like the worst. Like when he feeds, but the problem is that his skin can't contain himself. You know what I mean? So like in order for to like stay alive, like he has to like grab the skin and like sew it up
Oh
because like
wow.
it doesn't stay on him. That's why when you look at pictures of Melchiah, you'll see like he's this huge fat vampire, but like because like you can see like the bulge in his neck, like he's huge, like he has no neck, like it's huge, like he's a big guy, but
Mm,
like you see parts of his body, including his face, like
right.
stitched up because his skin can't hold himself. You know that was, he got one of the worst gifts, but like that was just him. You know, and what else? Yeah, Zephyr was the insect, Rahab was the underwater, and with Cain, he got the greatest gift of all, which was giant bat wings. You know, and the problem is that he surpassed his master. His master Cain, who from the first game doesn't have bat wings. He can't fly. Raziel can. And so when he saw Raziel with his newfound gift, he felt his wings when he was touching him, and then ripped him from his back. And so it was just nothing but flesh of the
Ouch.
wing hanging. And because of that transgression, he was sent into the lake of the oblivion, tossed into a whirlpool that is only considered for traitors and something else. It's in the intro. Just look up Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver intro. It is the music is phenomenal too. Like, oh my god. Like, okay, you know Bruce Faulkner?
Ah, sounds familiar.
He did the music for the Dragon Ball series before Dragon Ball
Oh,
Super.
yes, yes, the original Dragon Ball music. That's the, oh yeah, 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 yeah. That does sound familiar. The name
Yeah.
rings a bell now.
Yeah, Bruce Faulkner did the Cell Saga, the Frieza Saga, the Boo Saga of like the music, which is phenomenal. Like everyone loves that shit. This game, imagine if Bruce Faulkner did the music for this, but it had a gothic tone, a very deep, dark gothic tone, and it was awesome. It wasn't like the most celebrated music, like you know Nobuo Uematsu. He does the Final Fantasy music.
Okay.
Like like that's Nobuo Uematsu.
I almost said Utada Hikari, not the person who did Simple and Clean from Kingdom
No, that's
Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
No, Yoko. I thought Yoko Shomorura, butchering her name. I thought she did the Final Fantasy music, but
Mm,
I guess it's just Kingdom Hearts and Mario for her.
yeah, like well, I don't know who the person did the music for the Lord, but like the music in there was like basically Bruce Faulkner, but if he did like a very gothic tone, it was really good. But it was just everything about that world was awesome. And then you find out, so like, okay, Raziel gets tossed into the lake, into this whirlpool, and the moment he touches, his whole body flares up. Like you see him screaming in agony, getting dragged by this whirlpool current. And then when he's dead, like he's like dead, all right, you see him float down all the way to the ground. And his wings and his skin is like blue, like dark blue, but like muscle, like it's pure muscle. There's no skin. You know what I mean? And these vampires are not, and his lower jaw is gone. All he
Oh
has is
wow,
his upper jaw and his head, and everything is just muscle, like pure muscle. Like it didn't even eat his insides.
damn.
And like all these vampires have like pterodactyl type hands. So like you see claw, 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 and then their feet are like two claws. So like one big one little one. Like in this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was part of the transformation for these vampires. And now the whole time that he was caught in that vortex and sent to the ground at that time, you find out years, hundreds of years have passed. And he gets woken up in the lake, but he comes back as a soul reaver, as a wraith, you know? And you find out that there was this giant. They call him the Elder God, but he's more like an octopus with a lot of eyes.
Damn.
But the one thing that's special about him is that he brings Raziel's dead body back to life as a reaver of souls, the soul reaver. So like he tells him, "I'm bringing you back because I want you to kill Cain. I want you to exact your revenge on Cain." You know. But the thing is, though, you don't find out that he's the balance guardian not until later in the game, unless you played the first one, which is the continuation of this. You know. So, and I didn't know anything about the first one. I played Soul Reaver, and that was it. And I was like, "This game is fucking awesome." You know. And so you find out as you're going to find Cain and kill him for the Elder God, you run into all of your old subordinates, like all of Cain's lieutenants. They're all mutated because they haven't seen Cain in so long. Because they've all been living in great distances from each other. That you see, like they're all morphed. They all look grotesque, more animalistic, more bestial than human, even though they're all vampires. So, like with Malchiah, the one whose flesh that keeps ripping off,
Yeah.
you find out that he fused his body with other dead bodies, and he becomes a walking, like crawling, like giant amalgamation of corpses
Ooh.
as a creature. And like, granted, these were PS1 graphics, but like,
Oh wow.
just think,
That was gonna be my question. It's like, how long ago were these games, dormant for that they justify a remake? But you're saying PS1, damn,
yeah, like this game got an M rated for sure. But
definitely.
like, the story was like, because these vampires did not, because their master was away from them so long, they decided to just grab an area of land and claim it as their own. And then they started to create new subordinates, which are like the small, lesser enemies you see. So, like with Malchiah's little vampire acolytes or thugs or whatever you want to call them, I call them acolytes because like it feels like it's more meaningful, I guess. But like they're vampires, but you see like their flesh is not all there. Like everything looks like they're eating away. You know, with Terrell's acolytes, they're basically regular vampires, but they have giant ears out to here.
Oh
So
damn.
like they could hear you from afar and they start chasing you. Or Rahab's acolytes are they're vampires, but they're more fish-like. So they chase you underwater while you swim.
Right.
You know, or they'll jump out and spew water at you. You know what I mean? Like a super soaker does when you're like climbing on certain platforms and whatnot. Or in Duma, who is like the brute, when you face his acolytes, they're like huge, giant little mini Hulks. Like they got full blown armor and they run at you, chase you, and they have like long tongues with like suctions in them. So like instead of going up to a dead body, grabbing the body and like eating it, its tongue will come out and like suck the blood out of it. You know, like they're all very, but they're all very according to their master. So like, and when you meet like all the lieutenants and you find out their backstories a little bit, not all of it, but you have to dig for this. You find out that Cain abandoned them all and some of them are still fiercely loyal to him. And when they see Raziel, they're like, "You were the betrayer. You were this. You were that." And eventually, when you kill them, you gain their soul. And
Oh,
every
I see.
soul, when you gain their soul, you gain a special ability out of it. So, like with Rahab, the underwater guy, you can go underwater and not burn.
I see. So it's almost like Mega Man in a way, where you
Eh,
beat the bosses and you gain their powers.
Yeah, yeah. But the difference is that what I should have started earlier is that Raziel is a soul reaver.
Mm-hmm.
He was brought to life by the Elder God. The Elder God is he has his eyes literally everywhere all around us. There's not one place you can go that he won't know. You know what I mean? Unless it's like magically blocked by a barrier of some sort or something. But even then, like he knows. He Raziel has a very special ability to switch between two realms: the material realm, which is the world you go in to meet all the bosses, and there's a spectral realm. This is where you go to fight all the ghost, like ethereal type creatures, you know. And so, at any time, and here's the best part: when you die in the physical world, in the material world, you come back into the spectral realm, which is where the elder god lives and stays.
It almost sounds like Bloodborne. Almost.
Mm, yeah, I guess so. Like I never really
Kind of.
got that. I never really got that far in Bloodborne because I I've never taken the time to get good,
Same
but
here.
like
No, I mean like the concept kind of sounds like maybe Sony should pick the I'm really thinking, the studio that was under, the development for Bloodborne, maybe they can pick up this game and remaster it.
yeah. But the thing is, though, these games are super story focused, and the solo
Right.
games not so much. They give you a story, but it's kind of like up in the air.
Right. No,
You know
but
what
I'm
I
just
mean?
I'm just saying maybe take like the same basic grittiness, like all that, resource and, technology from that studio to make that game again.
Honestly, I don't see it happening, but one can only hope. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah, let me go back to Soul Reaver.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Raziel can switch between two. However, if he dies in the material realm, he goes back to the spectral realm. If he dies in the spectral realm, he dies. You know.
Oh, okay. That's
However,
mm-hmm.
however, if he gathers, if he kills souls and eats them, he absorbs them. And the way he does it is he takes his clan, he takes a piece of cloth with his clan symbol on it, and he wraps it around his mouth. And so, like, anytime you see a spirit floating around, all you have to do is just go it would just go like this, because that's all you would see. You wouldn't see nose, no mouth, no mouth. And then when a spirit's running about and like he kills it, all he has to do is just open it, and the soul comes in, and he ingests the soul and gives him health. And when he gets back to full health in the spectral realm, he finds a glyph on the floor, turns it, and then basically comes back to the material realm. Now, if he doesn't die in the material realm, he could switch between the spectral and material realm at will.
Oh,
But
wow.
when you do that, you change certain aspects of the world. So like let's say for example, this these are pillars, okay? Let's say these are pillars. However, if you were to do this in the material realm, you jump from here to here. If you did in the spectral realm, the pillars could go from up here to up here. So certain areas you couldn't get to before, you can get in the spectral realm. So like if the pillars were like, let's say for a gaming mechanic, these are the pillars. And there's a jump point up here, but you need to jump to this and this and this to get that. But the problem is it's all the way up here. And material to spectral realm, when you switch, these will elongate. So you can climb up to this, then jump on this, and then get into that high point where you couldn't in the physical realm. You know?
Right.
So like they had game changing mechanics that can get you from certain places. The only restriction you had was that you couldn't climb anywhere. And before in the game, if you didn't have if you didn't kill Rahab and you jumped into a body of water, you automatically went into the spectral realm. And you couldn't go anywhere unless you found the glyph on the floor to get back into the physical realm. Because remember, vampires are still weak to water. And
Right.
since he's still technically a vampire, but he doesn't drink blood, he devours souls, you know? But then later on in the franchise, Soul Reaver 2, that's where like holy shit, you find out that and even from Blood Omen to Soul Reaver 2, the storyline gets insane. Like you find out not only was Cain a balance I don't know why I moved that one. Not only is Cain a balance guardian, but like he has to die in order to get new guardians for these pillars. And then you find out that Raziel is the one the other god creates to kill Cain to restore the pillars. But then you find out Mobius the Time Shiever gets involved and tries to make Raziel kill Cain as well. But he's doing it for his own reasons. And so, like, the story gets crazy. Like, it becomes a world of deception and prophecy and destiny being foretold that is going to expand the rest of the games. Now, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2. A lot of people weren't a fan of that because, like, it basically took them back before Soul Reaver. Though some people debated have said that it's kind of like an Otherworlds and like an Elseworld story. It's not like part of the official canon, even though it says Blood on 1 2. But yeah, so you just find out that like there's this history of the vampires, and the vampires are not the vampires that you are led to believe in the series. You find out these vampires were once an angelic race that had like three-pronged hands, but like they didn't look like claws. They looked like hands. You know what I mean? They had giant wings. They were blue in color. They were like the most angelic race ever. And you find out that they are supposed to be the guardians of these pillars of Nosgoth. But they went to war with this I don't know if I want to say a race of magical beings, but like they're basically a race of sorcerers called the Hilden. And basically they went to war with the vampires who because they wanted to take control. But the vampires didn't want them to do that so they can corrupt them to their own will. So what they did was the vampires beat the Hilden, but the moment that happened, they banished them to another realm. But in that realm, before they did that, they placed a curse on all the vampires. And they gave them the curse of immortality. And the only way they could stay alive is if they drink the blood of their enemies that they kill. You know? And you find out that many of these vampires that existed, they either died off or they committed suicide because they couldn't take they couldn't live with their immortality anymore. You know? And so the leader of the only pure blood vampire that was left is a man named Janos Aldrich. Like he's the big bad vampire that everyone is like looking for in this game. And his first creation of his own vampire was Vorador, who happened to be a blacksmith who forges the Soul Reaver, which is this elongated sword that curves with a skull in the middle and like two prongs on the side. You know, he forged the Soul Reaver for I want to say it was Janos, but I could be wrong. But eventually, like that, and the Soul Reaver sword has its own history. And it gets crazier from there. And you find out that spoilers. Sorry if I'm spoiling this game for people who haven't played it, but like this is one of the reasons why I want to talk about is I wish people would go back to certain games and play them. Now, granted, the gameplay mechanics weren't great, but man, the story was awesome. The voice acting was awesome. You know, I wish people can understand how, like, I'm talking about it very passionately because I want to know how much I love it. Not only that, but like, there was something there that not a lot of people. There was something there that not a lot of people got to experience that I wish did. You know what I mean? So like for me, that franchise is the one thing I would love to see rebooted. Because like you know how people wanted Final Fantasy Seven rebooted to all hell, right? And now they're
Yeah.
gonna get it.
Well, yeah,
You
they got
know?
half of it.
Yeah, the second half, I can't wait for that to come out.
I still
Because
haven't
like
played it at all. I haven't played the original, and I only just got the definitive version for the PS5.
I have it on um I have the first part on my PS4 when it came free in the PlayStation Plus store.
Uh huh.
Like you know how like every
Yeah,
month
free
there's
months.
two free games and whatnot. I
Yeah.
got that and I saved it. And then I finally got around to playing. I was like, fuck, this game is good. You know? And
The one thing I
it has some of the same story beats, but like you could clearly tell it's like rebooted, like
yeah,
remade, you know, from the ground up. Like that's
but
what
you
I
can't.
want them to do.
Yeah, you can't jump in the game. I've noticed
Yeah,
that. But it's
yeah.
not that type of game.
But like, you know, but it has like the music, it
Oh yeah.
has, you know, the world, like it has everything that people love about it, you know? And they didn't disappoint because people loved it. The problem is that I would love to see them remake the Legacy of Kain series, but bring it to a new audience and show it to these people like, hey, you know what? These games existed. These games existed before. It's just that not many people played it because back then the technology wasn't great. The gameplay mechanics weren't great. You know,
Hmm.
some of the controls were kind of hard to like. Remember, this came out in '96. The first game, it was like a top-down side scroller. You know,
Oh,
Soul
okay.
Reaver was pure 3D world, like Super Mario type thing, but like very dark, very
Yeah.
goth world. Excuse me. And but the story, the music, the voice acting. Oh my god, the voice acting. Dude, before that whole Uncharted series took off, if you had listened just to the voice acting in that game, it is fucking phenomenal. Like
I might take a look at it. I mean, we do
like
have the technology of YouTube.
yeah, you know, like Michael Bell as Raziel, Simon Templeman as Kane, Tony J as the other guy, rest his soul. Like Paul Lukather as Vordor, rest his soul. Like their
Wow.
voices were like, I love it. To this day, I go back on YouTube here and like someone took some of the audio files and then recreated certain scenes from like Soul Reaver 2 and Legacy of King Defiance and like lopped it onto their voice. But like they took the Unreal Engine, like the most updated version, and then lopped the voice in there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And it's so good. It's so good. Like probably the best monologue is for me personally is the Legacy of Kane Defiance, where it was like, and I'm going to do my best interpretation of it. All right, so you're going to see how well my voice acting is.
Okay.
Um, let me see. because like it starts off with music from the first Soul Reaver game, and it's like and like eventually cuts off, and then it gets remixed and whatnot, but it's part of like the beginning. And he says something along the lines of, and it's with a British accent. It's fucking phenomenal. And he says something like, hold on, give me a sec. Um, hmm. You know what? I'm gonna try to see if I can look it up. Where the fuck did I put my phone? Son of a bitch. Give me a sec. I'm gonna try to see if I can imitate it to the best of my abilities. Because I would play the audio on here, but I don't want no copyright strike. So give me a sec, all right?
Okie dokie.
Don't put me in timeout or cut the stream shorter. Just
I'm
wait
not
me
gonna.
out.
Don't worry.
Where did you go?
Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Well, hmm. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. Waiting some more.
Stop patronizing me, man.
I'm just waiting and waiting. It's all good. All good things are worth waiting for.
God, I hope so. hold on.
So, I see we have two people in the chat. Two people are watching us, not really saying anything, just observing. If anyone would like to speak, now would be the most opportune time.
Okay. All right. Here you go. Given the choice whether to rule the corrupted failing empire or to challenge the fates for another throw, a better throw against one's destiny, what was a king to do? And then it immediately cuts to scenes from from Soul Reaver, and then it says, "But does one ever truly have a choice? One can only match, move by move, the machinations of fate, and thus defy the tyrannous stars." If that's not a fucking intro that will sell a video game, I don't know what will. You know?
I gotta see this. Like, you gotta share the link with me when you get when we finish this podcast.
Dude, it's like, and that's just from the Legacy of Kain Defiance intro. You haven't seen the Soul Reaver one, the first one. Like, granted it was PS1 graphics, and they used like kind of like what's it called? You know, like when they in the past Final Fantasy games, they would have like those 3D moments of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
3D
yeah, yeah,
imaging
yeah.
at cutscenes. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like that, but like it was like the first 5 minutes of Soul Reaver. Like, oh my god, dude! It just and the phrasing, the wording, and everything like that. Do you know who wrote this series?
Not at all.
Okay, the first Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, was made by a guy named Dennis Dyack. Dennis Dyack went on to make Two Human and a bunch of other games, but Soul Reaver was picked up and created, and that person was Amy Hennig. She's the one who started the first two or three of the Uncharted series.
Oh, she wrote this game.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
all right.
continued it from Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is Dennis Dyack's, and then Amy Hennig took this franchise and then decided to create Soul Reaver, which was the sequel to that game.
I
And
see.
Amy Hennig is the one who creates this huge Knights of the Round, King Arthur type story with like, and it's all interweaved with like deceit and betrayal and prophecy and destiny and all these other things. And the voice acting in there is fucking phenomenal. Like, I can't do it justice if I could. I would have to get a lot more better at it. But like the way they deliver their lines is fucking great.
I
You
gotta
know?
check. I gotta check this game out, whether it be by emulation or by
You have
watching
to,
clips
dude.
on
You
YouTube.
have to. Because here's the thing, the story I think is really great. Gameplay mechanics wise, it's good. Like the earlier iterations, like first Soul Reaver
Hmm.
is kind of wonky. Like back then, there was no um like if this was a PS1 controller, they didn't
You,
have these.
yeah, chop the nubs off. Boom. That's it.
Yeah,
You just get a D-pad.
you had to use D-pad, and then you had to use the L2 and R2 controls to move the cameras around. Like there wasn't anything you could do about it. Like that's how you play. You moved with the D-pad, used the L2 and R2 to swerve the cameras around. That was it.
Mm,
You
kind of
know?
like the
It
first
didn't
Kingdom Hearts. Huh?
more or less, yeah. But like, yeah, like when I gave that line, dude, how does that not sell? How does that not hook you in?
You know what? I could think of many reasons. Probably the mature rating, the um, the whole controversy with churches and stuff that's been going on for years when they see like anything that looks demonic and
No, but
evil.
but here's the thing: it's about vampires,
Oh
and
no, I no,
these
I
are not the
understand.
same vampires of lore from like history books. Like someone took this and decided to make these vampires their own.
No,
Like
I
they're
understand
not.
that. No, I'm just
There's no
I looked at the cover art of the game. I mean, I would see if like if I was what is it, a part of a religious group, I would probably what is not me personally, because I think this game sounds really cool and does justify a remaster or re-release or something from the ground up. But if I'm looking at this in like the early 2000s and I run a whole Christian church and I see this, automatically I would, without even doing the research, I know how these organizations are. They would like slanderize the game. You'll see it on the news, and that's how I could see the game like losing profits. You know, and it sucks that when a game that you love so much just gets so much either flanderization or just even ignored, and you want it to just be surfaced and be re-released in some
and it's
way or form.
but it's not being so much re-release as much as I want people to see and play what I played and understand why I foster so much love because I don't really put it out there that I love this franchise. I literally just go on YouTube, look up like archive like stories of like what these characters were like, what the world was like, you know? Even listening to the music. oh my god, dude, like it's fucking awesome, you know. But yeah, like that's this franchise is, and like, and here's the fucked up part. After Legacy of Kain Defiance, like there was no more single player games for this franchise, and it was the end, and it ended on a cliffhanger, you know, in a way, because like he killed everything. Kain didn't sacrifice himself. Spoilers. He didn't sacrifice himself, and if anything, you know, he just he was just left with whatever the world had to offer him. You know, you just see him looking off into the distance and realize he didn't restore the pillars. Raziel went back into the Soul Reaver blade, which was what he was supposed to do, but Mobius kept trying to trick him because he was the only one who had free will. Everyone was predestined in that world was predestined to a certain fate. The problem is that no one knew. Only the Elder God did. And the Elder God
Right.
was a giant squid who was everywhere in the world. Like it didn't matter where you went. Like he was there. You know? And so the only one that had free will, free choice was Raziel because he was reanimated. He was brought back to life. You know? And he was the pawn that Mobius and Elder God were playing with him this whole entire time. You know?
Yeah.
And so like if they took that franchise, brought it back, but like kept some of the story beats more or less the same, I think they would have such. And there's a rich history behind it too. There really is. A lot of people don't know that. Like I didn't even mention Vordor. I only mentioned him a little. Like he was the first human that Janos Aldrin turned into a vampire.
Oh
and
wow.
he and he was and he's a big deal because in these prophecies, when the vampires started dying off, the actual vampires, you find out these vampires were supposed to be the guardians for the pillars of Nosgoth, not the humans. The
Oh
humans
wow.
were too the humans were too frail, too corruptible for these pillars. The Hilden knew this. Mobius the Time Streamer knew this. But he wanted Cain dead so that when he dies, the pillars get restored, new guardians would come, but they wouldn't be the vampires. They would be regular humans. You know?
Mhm.
And once they come back as the guardians, he could corrupt them to do his bidding, and he could become the most powerful person on in that world.
Right.
Because remember, Mobius is the time shaper. He could open up portals to go anywhere in time. Didn't matter if it was 500 years in the future or 500 years in the past. Like he can do it, and he does that throughout the series. I mean, he has a giant staff with a snake, with its mouth on a crystal ball that he uses on Cain to make him paralyzed.
Damn. Huh.
Like that's how. And he's using Raziel as a pawn to get him to do his bidding. But Cain comes in and tells him, hey, before you do what you're about to do, hear me out. And then he gives him little slivers of truth that he doesn't know about, that he kind of knows, but he doesn't know to the extent of what it really is until he sees it with his own eyes, you know? And just when he's about to strike him down, because Raziel meets Cain throughout the series, but when that happens, it's either at a superfluous moment or at some point he takes him during that place and time, and he sees what happens right before his eyes that he can't believe it because he has such hatred for Cain that he has such a hatred for him that he can't wrap his head around him. Like all he wants to do is kill Cain because that's what he's told. But throughout the game, he realizes he doesn't know for himself if he is the savior or the savior of Nosgoth or if he is being manipulated. And throughout the game, you start to realize like that he really is supposed to be his friend, his second in command, his best friend, you know. But Kane doesn't he's trying to tell him that, but Raziel's not listening because he was so enraged when he tossed into the Lake of the Abyss and made him burn to death because he grew bat wings, you know. But yeah, like for this topic is the Legacy of Kain series that I want rebooted so people that haven't played it can play it and can understand why I love this franchise so fucking much, even though I don't talk about it with anyone. I've only told me and like another person online that I talk to are the only ones that know what this franchise means to us because it's fucking good. It's so good. I wish anyone who's watching this right now, I please, if you get a chance, go on PlayStation because I think it's still available in their store. Buy the first Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver game. I think the first Legacy of Kain Blood Omen is still available. If you have a PS3 or PS4, or I don't know if you can play it on the Vita. I haven't tested it, but play it, look at it, and just. I wouldn't recommend playing on the Vita though. That one might be a little iffy. But like, play it on a PS3 or PS4, either one. If it's available on either system, play it, watch it, just look at the world, listen to the music, just like experience it. Like that's oh my god, dude. It's like you know how have you ever seen Man at Arms?
Man,
Or
and
do you know of it?
wait, is that the guy who recreated the? He's a blacksmith, or he has a team of blacksmiths that what is it? What do you call it? Makes weapons from video games
Yeah, not just from video games, but like
and movies
of
and
movies and old
yeah, I've seen him make. I
ancient
think
lores
the
and
Gryffindor
mythology.
sword, the Master sword, even the Keyblade he did,
Yeah, he even made the Buster Sword.
and the bust.
Like
I
that,
forgot about that one
yeah,
too.
and that giant hulking Buster Sword. Holy shit! When I saw that, I freaked the fuck out. I was like, "There's no way you're able to carry that shit."
Not
But
easily, and not on your back like this.
oh fuck no, you'll hurt yourself.
You'll chop
But
your arm off in the process.
yeah, like he made the Man at Arms made the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver sword, and it's really weird looking, but it's like basically take the sword instead of elongating it, it basically just like curves
Oh,
to a point to a
I saw
straight.
that on the box art. Yeah.
Yeah, with the skull and the two little fangs on
Mm-hmm.
the side. Like that's the Soul Reaver. That sword is like, and that sword has its own history and mythology behind it as well. You know, but yeah, like that's the game that I wish people would play so that they could understand my love for it as well as a bunch of other people's loves, even though it's not like the most popular franchise of all time. You know, and here's the thing: they continued the series. They did. They continued the series called it Nosgoth. But the problem was that the problem was that it was it was like a faction based game. It was basically free to play, but it was faction based. So you had I can only I don't know what the group of people were, but I just want to call them the Seraphim Brotherhood, just for the sake of this argument.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the vampires. You had the Seraphim Brotherhood on one side, and you had the vampires on the other side. But the vampires were the Turelim, the Razielim, and the Dumahim. And basically, it was it was 4v4 um, massive battle arena. But it wasn't like League of Legends. It was like, you know, the multiplayer in Uncharted?
Yes.
Okay, so like you know how you just like swing around, jump and stuff, shoot people from afar.
Yeah.
That's what Nosgoth was. That was the name of the game, Nosgoth. It wasn't called Pillars of Nosgoth. It wasn't called Legacy of Kain Nosgoth. It was just Nosgoth. You just knew from the name. And the problem was there was no single player story to it.
I
Everyone wanted a
see.
single. It was just a multiplayer battle game. You know, like there was no story. Everyone wanted a story, but there wasn't one, and they didn't want to put that in there. They just wanted it to be a battle arena game,
Just
and
like
like,
Call of Duty, they did that. I mean, I don't care much for the campaign, but they realized that their customers really were just caring about the multiplayer and skipping the campaign.
and creating
So,
Warzone.
yeah,
You know, that's what Non-God was. It was just a multiplayer battle arena game. That was it.
yeah,
Nothing more, nothing less. And here's the thing: they ultimately canceled the game. Why? Because not many people were playing.
yeah, because they're like, what's the point of being in this world that they, to their eyes, is underdeveloped because they don't understand why things are the way they are, and they're just duking it out.
And here's another thing. They tried to reboot Legacy of Kain. They really did. It was called Legacy of Kain Dead Sun. Sun Sun, not SON.
Mm-hmm.
SUN. And according to the test footage I saw, basically it begins with this one guy who you were playing with, and supposedly the story takes place hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years after the Legacy of Kain Defiance. And so the game starts off where you play as this guy. He's at his wedding. His wife is pregnant. Everyone is at this gathering to celebrate this. And then some blue creature comes out of the middle of nowhere and slaughters everyone, including him, his wife, and his child.
Wow.
However, oh yeah, but here's the crazy part. In the beginning of that game, you find out that he was the actual target, not that entire party that he went to. But he killed everyone else to hide the objective that he was supposed to kill him in particular. Like he was the target. Everyone else was just like a witness. They didn't want anyone to see what he can do. So he slaughtered everyone but kept him alive. The problem is that when he kept him alive, he resurrected as a soul reaver.
I
So
see.
he became the new Raziel in our eyes as the fans. But his name wasn't Raziel, you know?
I get
And
what you're saying.
so and so throughout the the story of the test footage of the Legacy of Kain Dead Son, basically took it and just he could go around, walk around, whatnot, but he had the ability to switch between the physical realm and the spectral realm. And the physical and spectral realm were two very different places. Some places you had to reach that were like in hard to reach places, but if you switch to the spectral realm, boom, you could there was a way to get to it. So like there would be buildings that weren't there before that you could climb in the spectral realm and then
Yeah.
jump off of that into the physical realm. So you could switch at will. It didn't matter. Whereas in Soul Reaver, you could do that, but however, you'd have to either force it or if you died in the physical realm, you can only go into the spectral realm. And this way, you could just switch it at will, no problem. And it was one of the ways that you could traverse into certain areas to get to
Right.
where you need to go.
Right.
In Dead Sun, not in the other ones. In Dead Sun, like, and one of the things that kind of irked me about it was that they were trying to go for uh, they were trying to go for like this Game of Thrones approach to where
Okay.
like they wanted to still have the brutality, but like they had like a lot of like they wanted to modernize it. So like you know how in Game of Thrones or if like in any of these premium channel shows they have like a lot of nudity and a lot of swearing
Oh, I
and
see.
a lot of
Kind of like how God of War had like those moments, like after you slash everybody, you just see Kratos go into what is it, a spa, and there's a
brothel.
whole bunch. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. There's a whole bunch of naked women in there,
Yeah,
just for the sake of having naked women in there.
yeah. And so like that was the one thing that kind of bothered me. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind nudity in games. I really don't. I don't mind violence. I don't mind language. I don't mind any of that. The problem is that the franchise didn't start off that way.
Exactly.
and it wasn't in any of the previous games. And if you're trying to reboot something, reboot it to the way it kind of was, and don't try to add new shit to it. Like in Legacy of Kain, Dead Son, like there was a woman who had battle armor and she had like tattoos and like war scars and whatnot. But like she had like a specific dress where like one of them was open and you could see her tit
Oh wow.
hanging out. You know, like don't get me wrong, I'm not mad about that, but that world was the Legacy of Kain series wasn't about that. It didn't have that. You know,
I get what you're saying.
and like when you see that game, there's no swearing. There's a lot of gore and violence, but there's no swearing. There's no nudity. You know, they didn't drop like you fucker, you piece of shit. Like it was very Shakespearean,
Yeah,
King Arthur type of like old English type speaking. You know what I mean?
I know
Like
what
it
you're
had
saying.
class. It, it had a level of writing that I don't think a lot of people understand. Like there's a line in Soul Reaver 2 where Raziel holds the actual Sword Reaver sword, like the physical version, not the spectral one that he gets in the game. He holds the physical one and points it to Mobius, the time streamer on the floor, and he says, "This weapon has seen more mortal coil than you will ever experience." Like the way he delivered the line, I can't remember the exact line, but like he said something to that effect. More mortal coil embrace than you ever have, and like it hits, and like the way the lines are delivered and the writing was so good, so good. Like my god. But yeah, like for me to end this topic, and we probably went really long on this, but like that's the game that I want rebooted that did not get the love that it deserved. You know what I mean?
I agree with you on that. If I've heard of the name, but I've never actually played the games. But from what you've described to me, and if this was pitched to me, I was a game studio, I would like say, all right, let's get some of the people that worked on this, and compare notes and get a dedicated video game studio to greenlight this and bring it back from times before now,
But
but in a new way, but keep it pure to the fans, like listen
yeah,
to the fan input. Basically, don't fuck this up. This was amazing back then, had great voice acting, had a great story. Don't try to modernize it and butcher it for the fans.
and the problem is that the fan base for that is not big. It's very small, very very small. It's like only if I had to guess, there maybe like a few thousand, maybe a little bit more, but it's not big. You know,
Well,
so
you never know. I mean, hopefully reaching out with this small channel, somebody sees this and then maybe tells a friend, oh yeah, I remember that game. Oh yeah, what this guy's talking about, he's making a lot of good points. And they tell a friend, and I'm genuinely interested in checking out the game, to be honest with you. It sounds like a very good game,
it
despite the
just
game besides the gameplay mechanics being dated. It with emulation you can make a control stick do what an 8 directional, I mean, what a d-pad is supposed to do, but you know what I mean. Like, I play Super Mario RPG on an emulator for my stream, and I use a control stick. I don't use the d-pad because it's so much easier to control a character that's supposed to move in a 3D environment with a control stick. So there's a
but
couple of yeah.
but you understand what I mean. Like
I totally understand what you mean.
this game, like it should have an audience, and not
It
only should it
should.
have an audience, but it should be a lot bigger than than it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, maybe it was on the wrong platform. But then if you tried to even think
It was
about
on
putting it,
PlayStation.
no, I know that, but I'm just saying. But if it was on Nintendo, it could never be on Nintendo
Oh
because
fuck no! You think? Are you
they were
kidding
trying
me?
to squeaky clean. I mean, I would hope that it would have like if they would have played their cards right, waited a little longer for Dreamcast to release it, it might have had a cult following because people there's a thousands of people that what is it cared about the Dreamcast to this day that they're still programming their own homebrew games for it and their own features for it. If it would have been released on Dreamcast, I could see it of making a turning a lot more heads because if you have like Sega, a name like that, I know Sony was big in its own right, but if you had Sega at the time, pick up that game and they have their own independent studios work on the game and it's on the Dreamcast, I think it might have reached a bigger audience. But that's just because Sega was what Nintendo wasn't, so they'll definitely look away from that. Sony had a partnership with Nintendo in the 90s that fell through, so a lot of people in the beginning affiliated them with Nintendo. But that's a totally different story, and I don't want to go off on a tangent.
All
But
right.
I
So
totally would want to see this game, get
no,
a good remake from the bottom up and done correctly.
but I'm telling you this right now. If you just if you want to, you don't have to do this. Do a reaction video to Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver intro and just give your commentary of like what is happening and what you're seeing for a PS1 game. All right. This game is
Mm-hmm.
fucking awesome. Just the intro will suck you in because it's just that good, you know?
All right.
At
You know
least for
what?
me, at least that's what I believe, you
Hey,
know?
I already did ask you before you started talking about the game. I said send me the link. Send me the link. I'll definitely take a look at it.
So yeah, that's my game. What's yours?
Well, I mean, because we kind of went a little overtime. Mine, what is it? Might have to wait till our next podcast.
Okay. Yes. Sorry about taking so long for it. It's just I wanted to go into so much detail
Oh, no,
because
I understand.
it's just like there's so much more to it than meets the eye that a lot of people like I just wish would like get more involved in it because if it does, great. If it doesn't, man, what a wasted opportunity. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I'll actually, if I can, I'll bring it up probably at the beginning of our next podcast. Which game I would want to be remade from the ground up, you know, and done right with today's technology.
Okay. Um, is there anything else you want to bring up
No, not that I
before we
can
go?
think, not that I can think of, but the game genuinely does sound interesting to me, and I'm definitely considering checking out at least the cutscenes if I can't get emulation to work on it.
All right, man. I sorry if I went long winded on that. I just
Oh no, you're passionate about it, and I am. If I'm passionate about something, I'd probably go off on a tangent too. You understand? I understand what and
yeah.
this is something that's definitely passionate to you, and I can see that. And if video game developers and studios can see that people are that determined for something, and they see the numbers, and they don't see profits. If they could even lowball this and say, let's give it a shot, and then they'll pick up a whole brand new audience. Imagine that. If
I,
it'll give it a second chance for it to shine. And now with the PlayStation 5, you know, 4 console
dude,
generations later.
dude, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If they announce a Legacy of Kain single player focused Legacy of Kain video game, and they had the original people to come back. Now, granted, Tony
Most of them.
J. Well, yeah, if Tony J. Who voiced the Elder God, he's passed. Paul Lukather as Vorador passed. Simon Templeman and Michael Bell. The, Simon Templeman voiced Kane. Michael Bell voiced Raziel. If they brought them back, and then with the original voice cast, it would sell. Like it wouldn't just sell with audiences; it would sell with the hardcore fans, the cult fans, the ones that followed it since inception. You know,
Yeah.
and like the guy who played Janos Aldrin, the one I was talking about, like he was like the OG vampire. His name
Right.
is Rene Aubernois. I hope I'm not butchering his last name, but like he played a character on Star Trek. He passed away as well. So like Giannis Origin would
Oh
have to be
wow.
voiced by someone else as well. But if they brought it back, dude, I would lose my. If I did a reaction video for it, I would fucking lose my shit. You would see me do backflips from here all the way to
Tibet.
fucking California or some
Oh
shit.
wow.
Like that's how crazy I would go. Like, like people have no idea how much I love that series. If they announced Legacy of Kain's like coming back, like remastered or remade or what remake or whatever, I will lose my shit because I love the franchise. I love those video games. I love the storytelling, the music, the world that they created. You know, but
I totally understand what you mean on that. Like, I could think of even games that are well known that I would like to have that same treatment had to. Well, not well known, but like well known, but they didn't sell good. Same reason your game didn't what is it see the light of day. I feel like it might have been ahead of its time too.
in a lot of ways, it was because like the first game they didn't have like a 3D world. It was a top down
Right.
like it like when you walk it would be like this, like a
Yeah, yeah,
2D
yeah.
side scroller. But like it wasn't like Metroid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So it was
yeah. It
like
wasn't a
you
Metroidvania.
walk, jump. It was like you move like this throughout the world while the
Got it.
screen was just like this. You know what I mean?
But
But
yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna definitely check it out. I'm pretty open minded when it comes to what is it, some video games. Minus horror. I don't go crazy with that genre, but this seems like it has like a real you know
and here's the
concrete
thing: it's not
story.
horror. It's not horror
Oh,
focused.
I know it's not. That's why I'm genuinely interested. I know it's just got a lot of probably got a lot of. Oh, what's that? Okay, watching in the past. So I'm commenting on what I said about justice for Pluto. Ah, okay.
I'm still mad about that shit.
I'm fuming. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Keyblader. You'll hear our reaction at the tail end. Alrighty.
Like, bring Pluto back, bring Pluto back.
Yeah, and then they
He
just bring the
deserves to
dog
be.
back.
Oh man, well, um, I mean, I have nothing else to really mention of that. You know, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
I can't even get into the details of what I want to talk about at the moment.
all right? So, you want to wrap this up? Do you have anything
Yeah.
else you want to say before you go?
Not at the moment. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue my streams this coming Monday and Tuesday, but we'll see. But definitely we're going to be doing this again. Uh, nothing's changing as far as I know.
All right. Well, yeah, that's what I want to come back and be rebooted, remastered to everyone, so that way they could understand my love for it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it was great hanging with you and talking to you about it, bro.
Likewise, I'm definitely going to check it out.
And hopefully, if yeah, I don't know. I think we probably have something else to talk to next week. So, if anything,
Yeah. Well, we always find stuff. We're always clicking around.
yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Ruben's Crazy 89 with Ice Mage 25. Take
thanks
care, everybody.
for thanks for hanging out with us, you guys, and sorry for the long-winded answers.
Oh no, it's all good. Definitely gonna check that out.